So today we're going to service this Bomber Z5. This one just has air and oil. And some tools you're going to need are a 5mm Allen key, a pick, 15mm socket with an extendo, a hammer, some pliers, some very long pliers, flathead screwdriver if you want to remove the seals, some plastic Schrader valve caps, and a spoke. First thing you want to do, just grab these air caps and I'll go ahead and unscrew them. Alright, so now we got our air valves here. There's a little black piece, this little rubber part, could get stuck on top of here, so just pop it off. If it gets stuck, then grab your pick or something, and then let out the air. And now I'm just going to pop off one side of the arch just to make this thing easier to put back together. And if you want to clean it, you can just take off both sides. So yeah, there you go. And now we're moving to the bottom of the fork here. We got those 15mm nuts. Grab an extendo with a ratchet. I'm gonna crack this loose. Yeah, you don't need the arch on. These are pretty loose, so yeah, comes off pretty easy. All right, so now we got our foot nuts out. There we go. And just flip the fork over and the oil should drain out. So yeah, there we go. And just kind of cycle it up and down to drain the oil, or just pull off the lowers like so. And now with the lowers off, you want to cycle out all the oil. So just pull these up and down, and a bunch of more oil should come out. So yeah, there you go. And this fork had a leak in seal, so we're going to replace them. Grab your biggest flathead screwdriver, pop out the seal. And now we have our bomber clip. Just grab a pick, pop it off on one side right here, and pop it off on the other side, like so. Pop it up all the way, and then just pull it out. There you go. And now it's time to remove the oil seal. This one could be a little harder, and I always like to put a little rag or a paper towel on this edge here so I don't damage it. So yeah. And now we got our washer right here. There you go. Now we got our bomber bushing here. You want to grab your pick. You want to lift it up. Once you got it raised up enough, you should be able to just grab it and pull it out. There you go. And now once the oil drained out, the only way to remove your damper rods is to take off these caps. And because Marzocchi is evil, they made this thing purposely harder to service because it's just a lower end model. So first thing you want to do, you want to jack up this stanchion like so, and then you want to grab your Schrader valve cap. You want to grab the worst ones you can get because you're going to be sacrificing a few of these. And then you go ahead and just screw it on all the way, like so. Now you want to grab your hammer and you want to hammer this down. Just tap it lightly until it does that. And the reason we tap this down is because of this clip. When this thing is all the way up, this clip is insanely hard to remove. I've tried everything from needles to picks to screwdrivers, razor blades. It's super hard to remove, so this is why you want to put it down. And once you get this down, it's a lot easier to remove. So you just grab your pick. You want to kind of pop it up like so. Yeah, and then just take it out. There you go. Now once that clip is out, you want to grab your pliers and you want to kind of raise this thing up as much as you can without damaging it. So in order to tap this out, you want to go down to the damper rod over here, push this thing all the way in. Then you want to grab a spoke. You want to put the threaded side first inside of this damper rod here, like so, until it hits the bottom. Now it's hitting the cap. So what you do is you grab your hammer and you just tap on the end of the spoke. Okay, and once you got your cap off, you can just use your spoke to push out the damper rod. Okay, so there we go. Finally, we got everything taken apart. I realized I had a metal Schrader cap, so I had to use that. That was the only way I could have gotten out because the plastic ones just kept, you know, destroying themselves. And use a pair of vice grips to grip it out. For some reason, this one was a lot more seized than the other one here. This one just came out with a few taps with the spoke, but this one was a lot more stubborn, so yeah. And yeah, now time for cleaning. All this stuff is pretty simple. You should be able to clean it off with some alcohol, just get it nice and clean. You can also pop off this little bushing off of the damper rod as well. And These foot nuts, I'd recommend popping off this O-ring with a pick, cleaning up under there, because a lot of the dirt likes to accumulate at the bottom of the fork. So yeah. And these O-rings as well, because you probably won't be removing these caps very often, so they're not very hard to pull off. So just take them off and yeah, clean them up. There you go. Now if you want to clean off the lowers and the stanchions, just grab some long pliers or a spoke, put a little paper towel on the end, run it dry the first couple times just to get all the oil out, like so. And then after that, you want to put some brake cleaner, acetone on here, really get it clean. So yeah. All right, so there we go. Now we got everything nice and cleaned down. And by the way, these O-rings here, I replaced one of them because the old ones were kind of, you know, just starting to be a little bit hard. And I checked in my Hobo Freight O-ring kit, and it turns out I have the right size. They're about the 22 by 3 millimeter. And they are a little bit wider than the originals, but I'm sure the old ones got, you know, squished over time. So yeah, they fit pretty well. And if you do decide to take off the O-ring, you want to make sure to put Saran butter in the groove before you put the O-ring on, and then Saran butter around it when you put it on. And then also same thing for the foot nuts. Yeah, just get these off, get them cleaned up. And yeah, now for replacement parts, we have this 30 mil seal kit, classic one. Again, you can use my code RETROREV for 10% off. And yeah, I'll have any products linked to this fork in the description. So yeah. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, you're gonna put on a little glide washer. You wanna put some Saran butter in this groove over here. And then go ahead and just pop it on. There you go. And yeah, then you just wanna grease it up on the outside nice and good. Put your little bottom out spring on there. And yeah, just go ahead and pop it in. And yeah, just make sure they come out the bottom. You might want to poke them down with something, and then just put a little bit of Saran butter along this shaft and just cycle it a few times. There you go. All right, now once you got your damper rods in, you want to grab your little aluminum spacers, put some Saran butter on the inside, and go ahead and pop them on like so. All right, now it's time for our lowers. We're going to put in the seals. Obviously, you want everything super clean, and you go ahead and grab your bushings. You want these super clean as well. Go ahead and pop them in like so. I want to grab your washer, go ahead and pop it in. All right, and now time for our oil seal. I always like to put a little sliver of Saran butter all the way around just so it drives in more evenly. Go ahead, grab your oil seal, pop it in. And as your seal driver, you can use a Maxima fork oil cap. You can just find a cap from your fridge or use one of these. So yeah, these work pretty well. They line up pretty good, as you can see. Yeah, then you just go ahead and drive it in. And yeah, once you drove it in, you can tell if it's parallel like this, you want it to be flat. Yeah, just go ahead and pop it out. And now we have our bomber clips. You want to go ahead and pop these in. You want to make sure you see the groove right there. These are pretty easy, so you can usually do these by hand, like so. There you go. Make sure it's popped in all the way. Now it's time for the wiper seal. This one's a little easier to drive in. Same story. Put a little bit of Saran butter on the edge. And yeah, go ahead and pop it in. All right, now it's time to put on the lowers. You want to put some Saran butter on the inside over here. You don't need too much because it's an open bath fork. Oh, this kit also came with a travel O-ring, which is pretty cool. So you had to clean down your stanchions. And by the way, if you have rust on them, because these are steel stanchions, you can just use some aluminum foil and water to scrub it off. It works every time. Yeah, then grab your lowers and pop them on. And when you're putting on your lowers, you want to make sure you're not folding over the seal, so just kind of go carefully. There you go. So yeah, you want to push your lowers down so you can see the hole for the damper rods right there. You want to grab your foot nuts. You want to put some Saran butter on that O-ring so it creates a nice seal. Yeah, then go ahead and screw them in. And again, you don't want these super tight. You just want them snug so they create a nice seal. There you go. All right, so now it's time to pour in your oil. I'm going to be using 7 weight. And as you're pouring it in, you want to kind of cycle it around so it gets into the damper and to bleed all the air out. And you want it to be 45 millimeters from the top of the stanchion when it's fully compressed like that. And yeah, you can use a tape measure as a dipstick, and it's going to be about 1 3/4 if you're doing it in inches. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to show you how to bleed out the air. So you just, after you pour in your oil, kind of compress it up and down. There's going to be a bunch of bubbles coming up. So you just want to keep doing this until the bubbles stop coming up. There you go. See that? So yeah, get all your oil in, get it all cycled out. And yeah, again, you want it 45 millimeters from the top of the stanchion to the oil level with the stanchions fully compressed like this. All right, so now it's time to put in your air caps. You want to put some saran butter around this O-ring and on the inside of here, of course. Then go ahead and pop them in like so. And yeah, just use the same plastic valve cap trick from earlier and go ahead and tap them in. So yeah, if you have a metal Schrader valve cap, recommend that a lot more so you can put a little more force on it. It doesn't take up all the force. So yeah, just go ahead and tap these in. And as you're hammering it in, the air is going to want to push this thing back up. So when you're hammering it in, have it at the lowest position. And then once you got it right here where the seal is, just pull it down. And that'll put the strain off the seal here. It should be easier to tap in. So yeah. So you want to tap it in until it goes past that groove where the clip goes. Then you want to grab your clip, pop it in. Should be pretty easy to do. Like so, make sure it's popped in. And then just grab your lower, pull it up. It'll put pressure on this and then it'll pop back up. There you go. And then just unscrew your top cap. And yeah, there you go. Yeah, once you got those on, now it's time to pump it up. You need a shock pump for this. And the max pressure for this thing is like 55 PSI, which is nothing. So I'd recommend sticking around like 30, 40. And yeah, just play around with it and see what you like. And yeah, before you put in the air, you want to screw on your arch. You don't want these bolts too tight. You just want them snug. And yeah, there you go. All right, and there you go. Once you got your little air cap screwed on, now you got yourself a fully rebuilt Bomber Z5. It feels pretty good, very smooth. Not the best damping, obviously, because it's a a Z5. So yeah, I hope you found this video useful in some kind of way, and I'll see you guys. Bye.